Hi everyone, I just want to make a short video doing a comparison between a couple of these large language models. So we're going to look at ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's model, and also Gemini, which is Google's flagship model. So when we start and we create a free account, we will be given some kind of message at the start. So it's always good to review this, especially parts like this where they say chat history may be reviewed or used to improve our services. So basically, don't share any sensitive information. And while we have safeguards, ChatGPT may give you inaccurate information. It's not intended to give advice. Okay, so we can do things like answer questions, help you learn, write code, brainstorm, and all that good stuff. So this is the free version, so we should never share any sensitive information, especially with the free version of these tools. If we go over to Google and we can see, a similar kind of message. So they tell us to watch a video before we start as well to inform ourselves. But as you can see here, Google collects your chats and what you share with Gemini, like files, videos, screens, and photos. It also collects transcripts and recordings over Gemini Live interactions, your feedback, information from websites you visit with Gemini, product usage, location information, including your device's general location, IP address, home or work addresses, and your Google account. So again, you need to be careful when you're using these tools. So if you're under 18, keep activity setting is off by default. When it's off, Google saves your chats for 3 days. So we don't keep activity. It uses them to make Gemini apps work correctly, help them make them safe, and use your feedback to fix problems. You can turn on keep activity to help improve Google AI for everyone. So by default, it's turned off. If you're 18 or over, you have this setting is turned on by default. So we need to be careful with that because obviously, they will have your age associated with your account. So if you are over 18, this will be on by default. So your activity is saved for 18 months, and you can change that from 3 to 36 months. So basically, they're going to be remembering you for that long. Don't include information that you wouldn't want reviewed or used. So think of this like a public notice board. To stop future chats from being used to improve, you can turn off the keep activity. Okay, so now that we're happy with these terms and conditions, we can just start using. Okay, will we turn this on? So again, that's all dependent on how you're going to use this thing. So for now, I'm just going to leave it off. And straight away, we're given the familiar chat interface. So I go to ChatGPT, same thing. Okay, let's go. And you can see here, we can close that bar and everything. So what I'm going to do is give the same prompt to two different models. The prompt from the slides. Let's just write a professional email declining a meeting invitation due to scheduling conflict, suggesting 2 alternative times next week. Okay. So let's go with ChatGPT first. Okay, we can see it's. So thank you for your invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to meet. However, I have a schedule conflict at the proposed time I've been able to attend. I'd be happy to connect to an alternative time next week. Would either of the following options work for you? Okay, so it hasn't tried to input the dates for us. Okay, let's go to Gemini and see what it says. I'd very much like to participate. However, I have an existing scheduling conflict due to the proposed time. Could we look at moving our discussion to next week instead? I'm available during the following windows. And again, it hasn't attempted to put the date in for us. Please let me know if either of these options works for you, and I'll send over a revised calendar invitation. If not, feel free to suggest a time that better fits your schedule. Okay, that seems very professional. And the same here, please let me know if either of these times convenient, or feel free to suggest another time that suits your schedule. So as you can see, fairly similar answers. There are other tools as well, so these are the basically just the chat interface. But for example, Gemini, there are OpenAI have this as well, but there are things called playgrounds, which give you access to a deeper, set of controls that you can use for the model. So there's things like the temperature, which lower values may impact the reasoning. So this is basically how creative or how random is the model's answer is going to be. And then we have things, we can make sure that structured outputs are always on, or if there's any code that's created, we can turn it on to execute. We can also ground with Google search, we can turn that on, or URL context if we want the model to understand our URLs and go on to look at them websites. So there's a lot more control here, and we also have control of the model that we want to select. So you can see there's the Pro Preview, Flash Preview, gives you information about how much it costs, the knowledge cutoff, when it was released, and there's loads of loads of models that you can play around with. So, for example, the Imagen one is a paid model, and it's the latest image generation model. The Flash, it's really just for quick, short answers, and then the Nano is more for flash speed efficiency, so for sort of lower level devices. There's loads of different models here, and you can search for a model. There's the Gemma models, and it shows you how many parameters there are and things like that. When the release date was, when the knowledge cutoff was, and all that stuff. So there are free ones and there are paid ones, and you just need to be careful. But this is a handy tool for accessing Gemini and seeing what different things is capable of, especially when it comes to text to video generation or text to code or text to image. We can even do speech and music as well. Okay, so that's it. Just a brief overview of the two main tools, that we will start to look at throughout this course, but there are loads of different tools, as we talked about earlier. So the tools, they're always going to keep changing, their functionality is going to keep changing, so it's always good to keep on top of all of the changes, to these different models. Okay, that's everything. Thanks for listening.